Hi guys, I'm back. It's been a nice early beginning break. Thank goodness I'm finally feeling better. If you know, or if you don't know, I guess, the last 2 weeks I have been sick as a freaking dog. Let's just say nasty sinus cold turned nasty stomach bug. And then, if you know me, I really love my Red Bull and I really love my coffee. I have one of each, making 2 a day. And yesterday I was completely out of Red Bull and I was completely out of coffee. So I was miserable. And I don't know if it's a sensory issue or if it's just a me issue or what it is, but I get really bad headaches for a few reasons. They're not migraines or anything. They're not super frequently, but it's either lack of caffeine, I'm dehydrated, which I know are opposing things completely, or I need to wash my hair because when my hair is too heavy, it hurts my head, which I know that's a sensory thing. I don't know. And then the other thing is if I need to brush my teeth, which don't come for me, okay? Pretty sure I'm ADHD. Not trying to self-diagnose, but we will say that in my friend group, I am peer-reviewed. Thanks, Tori and others. My brother has really bad ADHD. It is really hard to remember daily personal care things. But I do my best, okay? Is that TMI? Maybe. I don't know. Does it really matter? They're my teeth. They're not falling out, which is what's important. I don't have cavities this time. They are crooked because I didn't wear my retainer. So, if you guys wear braces and they tell you to wear your retainer afterwards, frickin' do it. I lost mine for a week and then it never fit again. So my bottom teeth, that's why they're crooked as shit. But I can smile like this and you can't see them. So anyways, that's besides the point. One of those are usually the reasons why I have a headache. If it's not one of those, if I wash my hair and I brush my teeth and I have had some water, but I've also had some caffeine, then generally it's just a headache, I guess. And then I take Tylenol. Until then, I try not to because I need to fix something. Covering the pain doesn't necessarily fix the problem, it just covers the pain. So, either way, I feel like a fresh person today. My hair's clean, my teeth are brushed. And McDonald's coffee. And my brother-in-law brought me Red Bull today because I watched my niece, so I feel like a new person. Either way, it is 8:57 on January 7th. I'm finally feeling like a real person again. Finally feeling a bit more like myself. And we really need to move on to part 2 of last year's 100 Crochet Pattern Challenge of 2024. That being said, we are in the new year. So, let's start up the 100 Crochet Challenge, 100 New Crochet Pattern Challenge of 2025. If you're watching this, start keeping track of every pattern that you try for the first time this year and see if you can try 100 new ones. And if not, no big deal. Just see how many you can do. See how many new things you can make. Keep things creative. See how many, realistically, see how many designers you can support. There are new free patterns that come out every day on Instagram. I have a lot of friends who put out patterns. We'll be talking about a few. My goodness, we'll be talking about a few of them today, actually. All of these patterns, I won't say all, but 99% of the patterns that I'm talking about today are free patterns as well. There are only a couple of them that were paid. A couple of them are also were pattern tests. So they're paid now, but they weren't paid for me because I tested them. Or they might be Patreon exclusive patterns. So we'll talk about those. There will be another 26 patterns in this video because there's more than 100 in total, so I figure if I do one more than 25, then I should be able to get it into 4 videos. If the last one needs to be longer or shorter to accommodate, then so be it. Granted, in the last video, I realized that I did a lot of chit-chatting beforehand, and there shouldn't be as much of that this time, so we'll see. Trying to think. Some new things. I have received a lot of inventory recently. I will do a not a review. I will do a video on, you know, mail and stuff that I had coming in. Not like, I did receive a lot of Christmas cards from my crochet friends. Love that so much. We did a Christmas card exchange, and if you saw it wasn't in my last video, I don't think. But if you saw in one of my last videos, we had a Christmas plushie exchange as well. But I got a lot of Christmas cards from my crochet friends through the Christmas card exchange. And then since then, I want to expand my product line on my website and at markets to make a crocheter's corner, essentially. So offering my patterns for sale, having my stitch markers for sale at market, and I also have, finally, I ordered the sticks to create Amy sticks. I have the beads, the focal beads, and their other silicone beads. And I've also been stockpiling on letter beads and different like accent beads for bracelets. So I will be, instead of, community over competition is a very long word, okay? That's not, I mean, it's multiple words, but, and you can't abbreviate it because it abbreviates to COC, which some of us might be okay with. Somebody had suggested community over competition, kindred spirits, which COCKS. Let me know if you want one of those. I mean, I'll make it. You want one of those, I'll make it. That's fine. But I think what I might switch to are bracelets that just say community. If I'm feeling froggy and I can find enough beads, I might, because there's a way to make the bracelets where you can have 2 lines of beads. So I might very well make a couple of them that literally say community, and then underneath it will say competition. So it will literally be community over competition. If you like that idea, let me know. If you don't, tell me I'm wasting my time. Otherwise, I will be making Amy sticks before too long. But of course, we won't be calling them Amy sticks because that name is trademarked. So, you know, plushie stabbers? I don't know. Let me know what we should call them. That would be cool too. But my youngest cat is trying to start problems with the oldest cat. Maybe at the end of this, I will go through and show you essentially the things like that I've gotten in the mail. This is not sponsored by any means, not by any of the pattern designers, and not by anybody that I've ordered stuff from. So I'm saying what I'm saying. If you don't agree with it, that's fine. If you feel differently, you can totally put it in the comments. I'm alright with that, but play nice, I guess. A lot of the stuff that I did order is stuff from Temu. It's not sponsored. I'm getting it from there because it's cheap. And realistically, a lot of the places that, like, there aren't places realistically here that are making a lot of these things to support small business or support homegrown businesses. And the places that are selling these products, they're buying them at cheap prices from places like Temu and other wholesaler websites. So I'm not doing much different than anybody else. I'm trying to keep things affordable for others. If I spend an arm and a leg on my product materials, then that means that I have to pass those costs along to my customers, to you guys, because these things are products. These things are items to make product for you guys. Like, I'm making videos for other crocheters, right? So talking about my crochet plushies, that's great. You know, if you want to buy plushies from me, that's fantastic. But chances are you make them yourselves. So I would much rather, like, if you wanted to try to support me financially, that it be something more useful to you. Like a piece of jewelry that makes you feel like part of a community, or a useful tool that you can use in your everyday crafts. So I'm open to ideas. I'm open to opinions. Just play nice. That's all I'm asking. So enough of the chit chat. We're 11 minutes in, and I've done it again. We are going to talk about many patterns. 26 of them. Let me go ahead and open. First things first. We're going to do the same thing that we did last time. I'm going to make sure that there's space over here. I'm going to put the screenshot of the pattern on this side. And then I will, not a screenshot of the pattern, a screenshot of where you can find the pattern. Most of these are going to be through Instagram. This first one is not, actually. It's through Ribbler. And it is a paid pattern, but most of them are through Instagram. So I will put the screenshot of, like, the post on Instagram where you can find it mostly, and then I will post a picture of mine directly after. I'm not going to post links in the description box because it's hard enough to find the screenshots for 26 different patterns, let alone to find the links to 26 different patterns and get them all embedded into the description box. My phone is what I run my YouTube off of, essentially. My clipboard is not going to hold 26 links. It's just not. So if you would be so kind as to look at the picture that I post and hear me talk about who the designer is and take the effort to go find them, that would be great. Anyways, so the first one is Baby Millie the No-So Cow. It is a teeny tiny little cow, and I have only made it so far with velvet yarn. Premier Retro Velvet, to be specific. I was looking for a tiny cow pattern to make in the $15 range to wholesale sell to a local ice cream shop, who I'm pretty sure their mascot was a blue cow. Granted, this partnership did not last very long. Her husband was very much in the mindset of, well, we have to mark whatever we buy from somebody, we have to mark it up by 35% in the line of our business, and it doesn't make sense for us to buy these items from you at this cost and then mark it up 35%, because I was selling them to them at a 25% discount. So they would have to mark it up 10% more than what I sell it for. And he didn't see the value because they were small. It's like, listen, dude, I understand where you're coming from. Like, you're all about the numbers. You likely don't appreciate crochet like a lot of people do. It's not my fault that you have to sell them for more than I sell them for, because I sell them for $15 and I don't have an issue. I sell things for smaller than this at higher prices, and I don't have an issue. So maybe the problem is not what my prices are on my product, but where you're trying to sell them or who you're trying to sell them to. And if you don't agree with the price, clearly your customers aren't going to agree with the price either. So that partnership did not last very long, which is fine. No ill will to them, no bad feelings. But the cow is super, super cute. It is completely no-sew. The muzzle is just a color change. The ears are a color change. The biggest issue is the fact that I was making it in velvet yarn, and there was a lot of color changes in such a small product. So to sell this specific thing for me, this small, it was worth more than $15. Time-wise, like, I should have because I did the math in the Crochet with Bay pricing calculator, and the math was telling me that I needed to sell it for minimally $15 in order to break even. So it just wasn't going to work out. And I knew that they weren't going to be interested in it as a bigger product. So I would like to make more of these cows, but in like burlap blanket yarn this year. I think that that would be super cute. And see how they go. Now this is a paid pattern. Which I guess I'm realizing I don't know the price of it at the moment. So give me a second and I'll find it. So on Ribbler, it is $2.75. It says that there's no tax. Now I personally do not like the format of Ribbler. The only reason why I bought it on Ribbler was because that's the only place that I could find it for sale. I want the PDF. I don't want to have to access it through a clickable site. I don't know. It's just weird. My crochet journey grew up in Ravelry. And I know most of the crocheters today are not fans of Ravelry. They feel like it's too difficult to navigate. They don't understand necessarily where everything is. And I get it. It is set up for older crocheters. But I'm only 31. I feel like I'm not that old. It's no different than when you buy a new phone. You have to go through absolutely everything to learn how to use your new phone. It's the same thing with Ravelry. It's super easy. It's free. Like, it's free to have a Ravelry. It's a lot more user-friendly. So if you buy a pattern from Ravelry and at some point the designer changes the PDF or updates the pattern, then they can click right there on the site that anybody who's ever purchased the pattern will automatically get an update to it. As opposed to Etsy, it does not work like that. So if you purchase a pattern from Etsy and the designer ever changes the pattern, you will not know that they changed the pattern. It will never tell you, and it's way too difficult for the designer to search for you, like to find you and send you an individual update on the pattern. So not just that, Ravelry is a lot more customer friendly, I guess. Like, their customer service is a lot better over there as opposed to Etsy. You can actually talk to a person over there. But I understand a lot of people also don't like Ravelry because they have open political views. And we don't need to talk about politics here. I don't feel like crochet is about politics. Or at least it doesn't need to be. But they chose a side publicly. And that really injured them as a company. But I prefer the way that Ravelry runs. So I will die on that hill. Their pattern library is amazing as well. That being said, I have patterns for sale on Ravelry if anybody wants to check it out. Just saying. Anyways, Millie the cow, super cute. I really recommend the pattern if you like Ribbler. If you don't like it, then I would avoid it. There are other similar cow patterns on Instagram. Honestly. And probably on Etsy. But it's cute. Very cute. Moving on. I needed to try a pig pattern this year. Somebody approached me locally asking if I would make pigs for their daughter's upcoming first birthday party, I think. They wanted them to be baby friendly, so no safety eyes. They wanted like a wholesale price, essentially. They tried to buy the yarn for me to make them in the yarn. However, they chose the wrong yarn to do it. So essentially what we did is we worked out a deal where she paid me in the yarn that she bought because I can use those for other things. And I did. I used one of those skeins on the Crochet Plushie Exchange gift that I made, which was a bag. And you know what? I'll even post a picture here. Fair warning. It says, "Do you like my wiener?" But it is about wiener dogs. And it was for a crochet friend who is obsessed with wiener dogs. If you don't like it, that's fine. But it was amazing to make, and she loved it, so that's what matters. But so I took essentially the value of that yarn off of the total cost, and then she had experience like sewing things shut and embroidering eyes, and she had polyfill, so all I had to do was crochet the shell of the pig for her and not do the extra work. So first I tried this pattern. This is Pig's Plushies, Pigletta the Pig. It is a free pattern. It's no sew, but it turned out kind of big, and I wasn't super thrilled with how the snout looked. But it was an easy pattern, which is what's important. It was easy. It's free. It's on Instagram. It was just big for what I wanted. It was big for what she wanted. She didn't want to pay the price that bigger pigs were going to cost. So that's what we ended up not doing that. I ended up creating my own pig pattern. I still haven't released it, but I created a much smaller pig with a different snout option that we both preferred better. And at some point I will show you that pattern. So moving on. In June, I did a Pride event, and I wanted to crochet some rainbow snakes, so I paired Premier Parfait, the original, not Parfait Chunky, with the really skinny, like skinny Chanel Hobby Lobby version. I forget what it's called, but there's a lighter rainbow and then a darker rainbow. And so I paired the two of those together, and I did one with white in the rainbow and another one with black in the rainbow, and I made snakes. And I used the Mom Stitchetti free pattern on Instagram, so it turned out pretty decent. I'll show you a picture. They were adorable. They're probably as long as my arm, I would guess. I sold them for $30, and they had really big eyes. I realized after the fact that I mismatched the eyes, so then I took the mismatched and put them on the other snake as well, because once they're on, you're not really taking them off. You'll likely ruin them, so I didn't do that. But that was a really fun one to make. It was pretty quick as well, so highly recommend. And this year is Year of the Snake, so there will be a million snake patterns coming out, and they will go crazy. So watch for the snake patterns. Crochet Grove just put out a really cool snake pattern. And somebody, it's like Cat's Crochet or something like that, but with C's. They come out with realistically a very similar snake to Crochet Grove's immediately after she posted it. So I don't know if that's a free one or not, but I come across it earlier. Might be worth checking out. Then this was a really fun one. Okay, I'm good. The mini mushroom free pattern on Instagram. This is by detali.ph and garomi.s. Those will be in the screenshot. It is a free pattern. Theirs is done in acrylic yarn, so it's very little. I made mine in super plush yarn. So one of them I made, it was like a Hobby Lobby, like extra large velvety yarn. I didn't like the yarn. It was very twisted, but I loved the color. A child fell in love with it, actually, thinking that it was just a mushroom, which is fine. It's definitely not, but whatever. The mom, I made sure to inform the mom that it was an adult item, realistically. And she said that that was totally fine, that her daughter didn't know that it was adult, that she just thought that it was cute because it was rainbow, and that's what mattered, but that she was going to buy it before her husband came over and told her that she wasn't allowed. So I made another one in the Lion Brand cover story, which is very plush, like fleecy yarn, kind of like Bernat, but bigger. And it was also rainbow. And I sold that one to a little boy who he come over and he just loved the rainbow not mushroom. He didn't know what it was either. And his dad, his mom, and I'm pretty sure his grandma were all right there, and I informed all of them that it was an adult item, just so that they knew, and they all were okay with it. The boy was special needs of some sort, and like, you know what? It doesn't matter. He doesn't know what it is. It's the fact that he loves it. And I even made, because I had a chameleon that was also made in the same rainbow yarn, so I made sure to offer that. It was very similar in price, just in case, like if it was the color that that's what he really loved, then he had another option. But this is what he wanted, and his parents gave it to him. So if you make mini mushrooms in rainbow colors, parents are still likely to buy them for their children, because it happened in both cases. Just so you're aware. I ended up selling mine for, the one was $25 and the other one was $30 because they were rather large. I know I haven't really talked about how much I was selling the other things. Well, maybe I did. The snake I sold for $30. The pig I sold for $20 because it was pretty big. And then Millie cows I sold for $15. So I guess I did talk about those. But this was a really easy pattern, realistically. It's pretty straightforward as to where the eyes go, where the baubles go, all of that. So I recommend it. And it's free. We love free patterns. Then I was working on jellyfish patterns this year. Not like I wasn't designing a jellyfish pattern, but I was working on other people's jellyfish because I know that people like to buy the tentacle things for their babies. And I found a free pattern again. It is Janie the Jellyfish by Bright Side Crochets. I like this pattern. I like it more in like Premier Parfait Chunky than I do in Bernat. Something about the shaping was weird with the Bernat when I made it. And maybe it was the color, like I chose a different color but every time that I made it with the Parfait Chunky or Hobie Honey Bunny, realistically, they're interchangeable. Every time I made it in those, it sold really quickly. I sold them for $20 or $25 and they sold super fast. Then I made it in like a blue variegated Bernat blanket, which is, it makes it bigger. I was selling it for $30. I embroidered eyes on it because I forgot to put them in. And it's just, the blue variegated yarn, it was very stiff, not quite as soft. So I think all of those things kind of worked against it, but it also created weird shape. So it took a lot longer for that one to sell. Maybe I need to make a couple more in different colors and see how that goes for this year. But I do like the pattern. It does get a little bit confusing because you work like from the head down, okay? I don't know the sound that I just heard. I have a cat over here and a cat behind me. Anyways, so you work your way around from the top down. Then you get to like the ruffle row and you do a round in front loop only. There should be 30 stitches around there, which gets a little confusing once you get to the next section. Pretty sure there should be 30 stitches in row 12. But when you're working it up, it gets a little confusing because you work in the front loop only of row 12, and then in row 13, you're working in the back loop only. So unless you're really paying attention, it's hard to notice it because it's kind of up in the title of the next section. And it just it didn't come across easily to a few other people. I didn't have an issue with it the first couple times that I made it, and then I helped somebody go through it. And then once we figured it out together, the next time I made it, it tripped me up. It happens. But otherwise, as long as you're paying attention to that, it's pretty easy, realistically. So then the next jellyfish pattern, this was a pattern test that I did through Facebook. It is the No-So Jellyfish by Emmy's Crochet Creations. I did this one I did it with a couple different yarns. One of them was the Premier Retro Velvet. Then I think I did it again in Parfait Chunky. And then I did it again in some other like off-brand Chanel yarn that was kind of a weird rainbow color. This pattern was really great. Now the tentacles, it was a pattern test, so I don't actually know what it looks like now that it's released, but we worked our way through a lot of different things in the pattern test and made sure that we caught all the necessary things to catch. But it's a really cute pattern and it makes a really cute jellyfish. And when I finished these ones, I think I was selling them for $20, roughly. Then in the beginning of the year, I was working on some different small dino patterns. So this one is Crochet Tiny Dino Free Pattern by Crafting in Glory. It's a little long neck dino. It is no sew, which we all love for market prep. It is very small, and I made mine with one of the new formula Bernats. I was trying to use an entire ball on a bunch of different patterns, and I wish I had done a video on that. Like, I think I need to do it again because that would have been a great video. How many things I can make with one ball of Bernat, or how many different patterns I can make with one ball of Bernat. What do you think? Should I do it? We'll see. Anyways, the only thing that I did differently on this was the pattern has spikes down the back. I do not add spikes to my dinosaurs unless the dinosaur that I'm making needs it, like, to be accurate. So, like, I don't put spikes on T-Rexes. I don't put spikes on Brontosauruses. I will put spikes on Triceratops, you know, the three horns, duh. But otherwise, like, I don't put spikes on most of the other ones. I will put them on Stegosauruses because they need them. But this was pretty easy pattern, pretty fast. I did only make it the one time. Not necessarily because it wasn't a good pattern. More so because I only made it once in a weird color of yarn. It took a while to sell, and by the time that it did sell and I was ready to make more dinosaurs, I had found a better Brontosaurus pattern. So that's really the only thing. But it's a free pattern on Instagram again. Then at one point I had made Chompers the Crocodile / Alligator, which is freaking adorable. I think I made him twice. The first time I made him with Parfait Chunky, because that's, I'm pretty sure, the yarn that they used. Now this one was a paid pattern, which is fine, but I want to say, let's see, I am 99% sure that this is a no-sew pattern. So you work up the little feet, and then you start with the head and you work your way back the body, and then you do surface crocheting down the back. The eyes did have me a bit confused because it creates like these pockets that you have to tuck inside the head and then tack down, but the nostrils are attached. It's a very, very cute pattern. It is paid, but I do recommend it. Let me see if I can find the price for it. Okay, on Etsy, it is $4.85. So it's a super, super, super cute pattern. Highly recommend. I intend on making a couple of him this year, probably in Sweet Snuggles Light or Bernat. I don't know which. But I sold him for $30, and I think that if I made him in bigger yarn, I could easily sell him for $50, because Sweet Snuggles Light is a lot bigger than Parfait Chunky. Then, oh yeah, and that is by Kay's Crochet Critters. Then, now this was a hard one, okay? If you did not see Diddy Dex going viral, then I don't know where you were. He's a super, super, super cute, tiny dragon snuggler made with Sweet Snuggles Light. However, it is written in UK terms, which is not made obvious unless you read the pattern description before you buy it, which has led a lot of people to buying it and then being disappointed because they don't understand how to make it. However, on the last page, there is a crochet conversion chart from UK terms to US terms. So it's not that hard to do. It's just more thought consuming. The pattern does want you to make the horns separately to sew on in acrylic yarn, which I did not do that. I will not do that. I don't know why. I don't know why you would want to put that in your pattern, I guess. They can easily be replaced by surface bobble stitches in your horn color, or by slip stitching, chaining, single crocheting back down, slip stitching again, in the yarn that you are using to make the rest of it. Then on top of that, it tells you to, like, you make the head, it wants you to sew on the ears, it wants you to sew on the horns, it wants you to sew on the arms and legs, and it wants you to sew on the wings. So it is a very sewing friendly pattern. Not low sew, not no sew. However, you can decrease the amount of sewing if you make everything first. So if you start the pattern and you work up the arms and legs first, and the ears, and the horns, then as you're working up the body, you pay attention, because it'll tell you where to sew the arms and legs on and how many stitches apart. And the body does not have like a front and a back or a specific orientation. So when you're working it up, you can make sure to sew it into whatever row, or you can crochet it into whatever row it says to sew it into, and however many stitches apart, and then do the same thing for the arms. And then as you're working up the head, you crochet the ears in where it tells you to sew them in and how many stitches apart. And then you could surface crochet the bobble stitches. So this very well could be made a low sew pattern. You just have to think a bit more to do it. As for the wings, I loved the way that the wings were made. It blew my mind because the shaping was not something that I had ever considered or seen in another dragon pattern before. But it was simple and genius. You just have to sew them on. So I love the look of this. However, I only made him one time, but my plan is to make some more of him this year, but in bigger yarn, because last year when I made him in Bernat Velvet yarn, and he was itty bitty tiny, like he just fit in the palm of my hand, and I sold him for $25, pretty easily actually, to a child. So if I made him in bigger yarn, whether it be Sweet Snuggles Light or Bernat, I would probably sell him for $35 or $40. So we'll see how that goes. Stidity Decks, that's a pattern handmade by Jody. And it was also a paid pattern, so let me look that up. Originally, it is $5.90. So keep that in mind. Hopefully I can get this video out pretty quickly. He is cute. He took Instagram by storm in the year of the dragon. In May, I did Franklin's May Garden Mart. And this was the first time I've done it. I had to make plants. Like, I had to crochet plants in order to get in, because this is a plant only thing. So I convinced them to let me in by selling crocheted plants for those of us who like the look of plants but kill them. And they let me in. And that was one of my most successful weekends of the entire year. It was insane to me. So for this event, I bought the Bloomlings pack. It's a pattern by the Yarn Nest. I have a freaking hair tickling my nose. Essentially, they're like 4 little potted plant buddies that look like succulents and like daisies or roses. Sorry, my cat's going crazy. And they have little feet on them, and they have cute little faces on the pots. Now again, this is a paid pattern. So they only have 2 patterns. Okay, so it is Jelly Imp Art on Etsy. The Yarn Nest by Jelly Imp Art. And on Instagram, it says her name is Kat with a K, which I had no idea before now, which is very ironic. She only has 2 patterns, but I really liked the bloomlings. However, it took me a long time to sell them. The pattern is $5.20, but I made them in, I'm pretty sure, Premier Parfait Chunky, so they were a bit smaller because of that. I was selling them for about $20, $25 a piece. The one of them finally sold simply because it looked like oddish. But the other ones, like the one that looks like a rose and the one that looks like a succulent sold right away. And then the one that looks like a daisy, people thought that it was an octopus. And the amount of times that I would put it the right way up so that the petals, you know, were going upwards. And 5 minutes later, somebody would come in and they would put it petal side down because they thought it was a Dumbo octopus. And I would go and fix it. And then somebody else would come in and they'd flip it over again. It's like, they're like, oh, look at this cute little octo. I'm like, it's actually a flower, but okay. It's kind of funny. Slightly amusing. So I did make all 4 of them that come with the pattern. It was pretty straightforward. Very cute. It just took a while to sell, so I haven't made them since. Then I made the baby dolls from the Friendly Red Fox. She put out like all of her patterns are free on her blog. Now, I don't like her blog. It is so glitchy with ads that essentially I go on there and I screenshot the pattern because it keeps kicking me back to the top over and over and over again, and it drives me mad. I hate blogs that are like that. Hate it. But I really wanted this pattern and I didn't want to buy it. So I went on the blog and I screenshot it because that's just what you do sometimes. I made one of these babies that looked like Cinderella, one that looked like Belle, and one that kind of looks like Mulan. It wasn't intentional. I was trying to give her sleepy eyes because I did not like my embroidered eyes on Cinderella after I did really well on Belle's eyes. So I just did sleepy eyes, and it just so happened that she's the one that I did them on, and her hair was already black with the pink dress, and my husband mentioned that it looked like Mulan. So, yeah, sleepy eyes work for Mulan, if you were wondering, in a man's viewpoint. And there were others who asked if it was supposed to be Mulan, so I'm like, yeah, it was totally intentional. No, it's just me being lazy. Now, I have sold Belle. I have not sold Cinderella yet, and I have not sold Mulan yet. Cinderella is available on my website, if you might be interested. She's a cute little blonde baby with a blue dress. She has floppy legs, because the pattern tells you to sew the legs on, like, fixed into place. But after the first one that I did that with, I said no, because this is another one of those patterns that could very easily be low sew, and for whatever reason she decided to make as much sewing as possible. So make sure you read it ahead, do the feet and the legs before anything else. You can surface crochet the shoulder cuffs, the hair cap. It's done in 2 pieces. You can do it in 1. So go up on the first hair cap until until it has as many stitches as you need to start the second piece, and then you don't have to make it in 2 pieces. It's just 1. You'll just stuff the bun before you sew it on. But it's a really, really cute baby doll pattern. I definitely intend on making more of these this year. Super cute, free pattern, available through her blog. You can also buy the pattern as a PDF, but that's up to you. I do recommend it though. She did also come out with a mermaid pattern shortly after that's very much like these babies. She was clearly on a Disney princess kick. That's where it was going. So she ended up making Ariel as a baby mermaid. And so you can have baby mermaids and baby princesses. So I did not make that one yet. I want to. I just haven't gotten there. But I recommend. Her patterns are nice once you figure out how to make them no-sew or low-sew. So then I did a pattern test for Fifi Crochet. And I did Felicity the Frog. I did her twice. So for my pattern test, I did her in Premier Retro Velvet. And she turned out little. She was like this big. Super cute. Did the purse, did the dress, and everything. She sold right away. I sold her for $35. I should have sold her for more. But that's on me. Then I made her again in Burnout Blanket because I wanted to see what the size difference was going to be. And of course, she turned out massive. So I'll show you both pictures of that. Now, the second one, I did not crochet the purse. I need to crochet the purse and put it on her because she is not sold. I have had her for months now, and she is not sold. So she will sell better once I make her a purse, I'm sure. I did also make her in Bernat Sparkle yarn, which is a bit stiffer. It's a bit thicker, so she did turn out bigger than regular Bernat. So, either way. Very, very cute pattern. Just adorable. And the pattern designer is really sweet too. So if you wanted to check out her other designs, she is a growing designer. She has lots of them available on her Etsy. You should go check it out. This pattern, I do believe, is a paid pattern on her Etsy. I do not believe that she has any free versions of it. I'm going to find her real quick. Okay, Fifi is taking a short break from her Etsy shop. Apparently. Okay, so I guess the most recent thing that I'm seeing here is she posted a new pattern back in October. Or no, she posted a new pattern in November to her Etsy shop. Hopefully, if you see this video in the future, that you will go check her out, her Etsy shop. I know that she has a handful of patterns on there. I like her design. She's a really nice person as well. So you should totally go check her out. Sorry for getting lost in a rabbit hole there. Then I did a pattern test for Crochet by Jenna. I am in her Patreon. So as a patron, you get access to pattern testing her patterns. And so this one was a no-sew possum snuggler, the mini and the jumbo. I did the mini, so I made it with Premier Retro Velvet, I'm pretty sure. I sold it for $30. People loved it. They thought that it was roadkill possum. I really don't have any complaints with it. I know that, so if you join her Patreon, you have access to this pattern for free. And all of the other patterns that she has posted in her Patreon. It's like $12, I think. Pretty sure it's $12, and you literally have access to every free pattern that she's ever posted in there for the tier that you buy. I think it's worth it. There's a lot of them. This one's super, super cute though, and it's no-sew, which is super important. But I'm not sure how much it costs through her Etsy. Anyways, then I was trying to come up with an ice cream cone pattern for the ice cream shop that I had stuff in. Because initially they wanted to have a froyo pattern, an ice cream cone pattern, and then the cow. And so I did five of each of those when I initially dropped in the store, and everything sold. But I kept trying with the pattern, and I couldn't figure out the right shape. So I ended up buying Wonder Crochet's mini ice cream cone plush pattern. This was a paid pattern as well, just to kind of figure out the shaping like how the heck you get the weird points and stuff. And from there, like, it helped me understand how to do the shaping. And from there I came up with my own pattern, and it's available for free on Instagram. If you feel like checking it out. But hers is done with Parfait Chunky. It's a lot bigger. It's super, super cute though. I did make hers and mine did not look like her picture, so I don't know if it was a stuffing issue or because I used a different type of yarn, but I'm assuming that that was a me issue, not a her pattern issue. But I should have definitely figured out how much these costed before doing all of this. Okay, so the mini no-sew version is available on her blog for $4.29. And that's the mini. She also has like a large version. So I will do my best to show that to you guys. Apparently I changed positions here. There. Like I said, super cute pattern. And I've talked to Allison. She lives about an hour south from me in Pittsburgh. And she came on to Crochet by Jenna's Zoom one night, and we were all having a great conversation, and I'm very hopeful. I know she's not into markets and whatnot, but I intend on doing a market in Pittsburgh this year, and I'm very hopeful that her and I can meet up for some coffee or something, just because, like, we're neighbors, essentially, and we're crocheters, and it would be nice to sit down and crochet with her, you know? Get to know her on more of a personal level if I can, and I don't mean that to be weird. I don't know. I just like making crochet friends. It's fun. Anyways. Then we get into another plant pack that I did. This is the Mini Potted Plants Friends 4-in-1 pack by Minnie's Crochet Friends. So this is one of many plant packs that she has put out. This was a paid pattern. Again, I'm going to find it. So this 4-in-1 pack, essentially there's a pothos plant, there's like a spiral plant, there is a snake plant, and a string of pearls. They're all super, super cute and adorable. The pack was $8.74 through Etsy, and her Etsy store is Minnie's Crochet Friend. And let's see, she has a lot of these pattern packs. So she has flowers. There's mini potted daffodil, mini potted sunflower, mini potted daisy. There is the snake plant. There's mini potted poinsettia, mini potted rose, other succulents, mini Hoya heart cactus. I thought she had come out with another one, but maybe it's just not out yet either. But this was another very, very easy pattern pack to follow. I did all 4 of them in one night. I remember I was watching Haley from Crochet Corner 0114 for a while and a bunch of others, and I crocheted late into the night to finish all 4 of them, and they were actually really easy and really quick. And I was sending her pictures as I finished them through Instagram, and she was responding to me, which is kind of neat. So definitely one I would recommend. I know that it's not free. I'm sorry. Not all of them are going to be free, but most of them are. So then the next one, Crochet by Jenna's No-Sew Dragon. This was another crazy pattern that happened this year, and I loved the pattern. I love that it's no-sew. I had done another dragon shortly before it that was not no-sew. Granted, I think I made it no-sew, but that's besides the point. I really love this pattern. I love this design. I like the shaping in the face. I love that there's no sewing. This is another pattern that is free through her Patreon if you join. If not, you can buy it on her Etsy. it's not really that the pattern comes in 2 sizes. It says that it's 2 sizes, but it just matters about what size yarn you use. If you use a thinner yarn, it's going to be smaller. If you use a thicker yarn, it's going to be bigger. It is 7% off currently. I'm not really sure why 7. Maybe I need to go check out the Patreon and find out. But originally it's priced at $6.20. Right now it's $5.77, and it just says for a limited time, so who knows for how long. But I highly recommend that one. You may need to adjust where the legs line up or where the wings line up, because we're finding not consistency issues, but it seems that there's a large majority of people that are having to adjust the placement of the legs and the wings. So just be aware of that. It's not a big deal. It's just the differences in how we crochet. It's something you can't avoid it. You just have to adjust where you place them. That's it. So then we move on to Pico the Chameleon. Another paid pattern. I guess a lot of these are paid patterns. Maybe I need to do a little better researching on that. My bad. This is a pattern by the Fox Den Mom Life. Pico is a no-sew chameleon. I'm pretty sure she was using Parfait Chunky, but I chose to use Lion Brand Cover Story, so he turned out very large. I do have him listed for $35, I'm pretty sure. Nobody has bought, however, I'm pretty sure that it's because of the color. I think if I made him in a solid color, it would be more obvious as to what he is, as opposed to the rainbow. So I will make another one and see if that helps him move a little bit better. But this was a very, very easy pattern. Definitely no-sew, very straightforward. And let me see if I can find how much it cost. So currently, Pico the Chameleon is $4 on her Etsy shop. I recommend checking it out. Super, super cute, really. And if you make them in smaller yarn, very market prep friendly. Market prep friendly for big yarn too. Can have it in 2 different sizes for 2 different prices. That's up to you. But you can make them in a million different colors as well. Then Tice the Sea Turtle by Old Soul Factory. Tara T. Now, I was watching Tara's YouTube videos. Initially, I liked her videos. I saw a couple of her mom's videos, Stacy Makes. And then I was regularly watching Lottie from Refined Vibes. So when I joined her Patreon, I was very excited to see Old Soul Factory was a member of the Patreon. Super cool. Then, you seeing each other in the Zooms and in the chat on a regular basis, the excitement kind of wears off a little bit. And you realize that we're all normal people. We're all regular, everyday people. And Tara's awesome, actually. My first impression of her was hilarious. Along with everybody else, realistically. We really need to have another game night sometime soon. Because that was fun. Especially for a very first Zoom ever. However, Tara is a talented pattern designer and has her own YouTube memberships. I am pretty sure. Yes, I made sure that was right. I am a member on her YouTube memberships, so I'm in her Discord as well. She is coming out with a new pattern. It's in testing currently. I'm not testing it because mental health matters and I just can't right now. But she come out with Tice the Sea Turtle, who is a no-sew sea turtle pattern that you make the head and then you make the shell and you start, you're starting to decrease essentially on the shell. And while you're in the round, you are crocheting rows out to create the fins. So it's not like the other sea turtle patterns where you have to make the fins ahead of time and then crochet them in after the fact. It's just one less piece. It's one less time, time inclusive? know how to word that, but it's just one less thing to create a turtle. They come out pretty decent sized. I've made Tice in burnout blanket sparkle, and they turned out pretty big, and I sold them both for $25 a piece. And then I made it again in burnout extra. So now I have that one for sale for $35. And she's not selling very well at this price and size, but she's also purple. Or no, she's not purple, she's pink. She's pink. So I'm going to make her some friends and see if that helps her go a little bit, because usually that's what it is. When they're by themselves, it takes longer for them to sell. But if I make them friends, they sell way faster. I don't even have to change the price. So, whichever. Now, Tice is a paid pattern. However, if you join Tara's memberships, he is available in her Discord. So, worth the price. Go support her. Go watch her YouTube channel. Go join her YouTube memberships. Pretty sure it's only $10 a month. I'm just saying. Tara's great. Now, if you go and buy the pattern, let's see. I'll find her Etsy. Well, there she is. There he is, Tice the Turtle. He's $3.50 on her Etsy. Very affordable. Well worth the price. Just a little time check here. It's 10:09. We're an hour and 15 minutes into this. Let's hope I can cut this back a little bit. I've been doing a lot of chatting and quiet moments. Yeah. So let's see. Tara's Etsy looks fantastic. It says, welcome to my trendy little shop. She's from Albion, Illinois. 790 sales. Super nice, super nice. 80 reviews. So she has Tice the Sea Turtle. She has the mod pack for Tice the Sea Turtle to make all the fruit mods, which, amazing, love that. She has Stella the Sleepy Dragon. And then she has her Ocean Pals, or Ocean Chums. Yeah, Ocean Chums pattern pack. So you have a whale shark, a swordfish, and a great white. Then you can also purchase already made snakes and dragons off of her shop. So I highly recommend checking out Tara's store, buying her pattern. Tice the Sea Turtle is great, and if you know anybody who has made the pattern, they're going to tell you that it's a great turtle pattern to do. So then let's go. Let's keep going. This past November, I had a request to make a giraffe, and it didn't matter how big or how, like, the colorways. They just need, well, okay, it did. They needed it to be traditional colors. So we needed yellow with brown spots. That was what was important. So I chose to use JNW Crochet's giraffe pattern. It's Jennifer Ward. I did buy this pattern. This pattern was super, super easy. It was super freaking cute to make. I made it with burnout blanket. It turned out probably this big. I made it in one evening and I sold it for $65. So if that gives you any ideas, just saying. So let's look up JNW Crochet. JNW Crochet is from Virginia. Didn't know that. And holy cow, she has over 27,000 pattern sales. So she had a pattern sale at some point this year. And that is when I bought the pattern. So I bought them while they were on sale. This one specifically, I bought this one in a cow pattern that I intend on making this year. She does have some free patterns on her Instagram as well. Come on, show me the giraffe. Oh, that's right. So I also bought her, like, Scary Monster pattern pack, which is 50% off right now. It's $6. And her Clara the Cow, I intend on making that. That's going to be adorable. But this one is the giraffe pattern on her Etsy, and the sale ends in 1 day at 50% off. It is $2.47 currently. It's originally $4.95, so you should probably go check that out. Super cute pattern, really. At one point, we were all kind of trying out different T-Rex patterns. There was one that I had tried in Parfait XL, and then I wanted to try one in Bernat Blanket. A friend named Whitney was working on this pattern and needed some help kind of translating a little bit because it didn't really, it just seems like it was translated poorly to English. So bought the pattern, helped her out, made the T-Rex. I will say the T-Rex turned out cute. I did not add the spikes that it tells you to, but it turns out cute. My issue is that it just seems pretty clear to me that it was poorly translated to English. It is hard to read. It's not super obvious how it's supposed to be, and it shouldn't be that difficult, realistically. So this is not really a pattern that I would recommend buying. It's a crochet pattern, no-sew Tyrannosaurus, but the question is, who's it by? Because of course that's not in my screenshot. Okay, so there is a tutorial for this pattern on YouTube by Crochet Craft Studio. I don't know anything about the YouTube tutorial, but that's at least to tell you like who the designer is. And I'm assuming that there have to be quite a few issues because in the description, it says this pattern is made with my dedication and spreads love to those who enjoy crochet. If you have any issues, please don't rush to give us a 1-star rating, but instead message via Etsy and we'll resolve it as quickly as possible. Wish you have a good time with your crochet work. Unless they're frequently getting 1-star ratings for their patterns, there would be no reason to write that. So I guess that's the little bit of issue that I have with that. So that's my honest opinion of it. I understand if you don't like negativity. I'm not trying to trash a designer. I just don't think that this one's very beginner friendly. Now, on to the next one. I did Posy the Fairy Dragon by Refined Vibes. Posy turned out super cute. I did a teal variegated yarn out of Sweet Snuggles Light with, I think, yellow accents. Now, I sold Posy for $40 because with the Sweet Snuggles Light, she turned out a bit smaller than Lottie's, and Lottie sells her Bernat Blanket ones, I think, for $60. And it sold immediately. I did Posy while on a Zoom one night with them. It took one evening. Now, my big issue with Posy the Dragon is that there's a lot of sewing involved. So I wouldn't say that she's the most market prep friendly, but she is very cute and worth making at least once. So if you were to make it, you could try to make the legs ahead of time and crochet them into the round. Same with the ears, you could probably crochet those into the round. The tail option, there are multiple tail options that you can choose from. I chose to do the heart, I believe, which you have to sew on. All of the nubs on the back are sewn on, and so are the wings. So heavy on the sewing, but super cute. Now, I got access to Posy through Lottie's Patreon. So her patterns are available through her Patreon when you become a member. I don't know if I've even seen Lottie's Etsy shop. Which, I guess, to be fair, she might not have an Etsy shop. She might just sell them on her website. Nope, I lied. Refined Vibes Crochet is her Etsy shop. And the pattern is $5. She also has Carl the cow, Ellie the elephant, a witch turtle, Gwen the giraffe, a crochet ghost shell turtle, and a Cupid pig. Q-pig. So they're all heavy on the sewing. She likes the details that come with sewing things on as opposed to no sew, and that's totally fine. That's just her style of patterns. So I think they're all very cute. Then the next one, how many do we have left? Not too many. Not too many. Okay, so the next one is the Baby Gator pattern by Hook Crochet Co. Yes, this was a paid pattern. Gross. I don't know if you heard that. I hope not. It's my cat. I'm just making sure to find her Etsy shop right now. Okay, so the pattern currently is $4.90. The way that she makes hers is they have little, like, legs that come out with little feet. Super cute. You could do it that way, but I know myself and a few others have switched to making the feet as bobble stitches. However, when you do that, you do have to move where the back bobble stitches go, which that's your preference, whichever. We're just trying to make it a little bit more market friendly than the time that it takes to make a chain, crochet down, make chain, crochet down to make the feet. So super, super cute pattern. I will say that I made 3 of them and I've sold 2. So I need to make more. That's definitely something I need to market prep, especially soon, because I am going to be, like, I'm setting up at a reptile expo in 12 days. And there are some things that I need to restock. So I recommend this one. It came out late last year, and people love it. It's super, super adorable. Then, oh, I did a pattern test for Molly from Out of the Barn Crochet. Now, Molly, if you're watching, now would be a good time to post this pattern. Just saying. This is a pattern that is unreleased. It's not out yet. Molly, talking to you. With love. It's super freaking cute. It's Nacho the cockatiel. It was a pattern test. There were only a few of us testing it, but I made it twice. I made it with Retro Velvet yarn, and I made it with Sweet Snuggles light yarn. I have sold both of them. The smaller one I sold for $30, and the bigger one I sold for $45, I think. One of them I made in like traditional gray and yellow colors, and the other one I made in white and yellow. I need to make one of these for my grandmother because she is obsessed with cockatiels. And they just turned out so freaking cute. So, if you wouldn't mind checking out of the Barn Crochet's Etsy shop for her other available patterns, at some point this one will be available too. I would recommend you to go buy it if you could currently. But it's one that I tried this year. Then I did another pattern test for Melissa from Foodie Crafty. That being said, congratulations, Melissa, on your recent marriage. I saw some of your wedding photos. You recently graduated college. You are kicking ass at life right now. Like, I hope that you have the best year that you have had in many, many, many years. Congratulations. But the pattern in question, Baubles the chonky axolotl, was a pattern. I did it twice. The first one I did in like these pretty sunset colors. So it was like an orangey, sherbet-y color body, and then these pretty like sunset orange gills, both in Bernat blanket yarn. The one was like the frosted or frosting yarn, and the other one was like the tie-dye-ish. It might just be under baby blanket now, but I think when it first came out, it was under tie-dye. And then I made another one with Sweet Snuggles Light to see the size difference. And it was just a little bit smaller, not too much, but I made that one in teal and Java because I wanted, or no, not Java, terracotta, because I made it in mint chocolate chip. They both have sold. The bigger one sold for $60, I believe, and then the smaller one sold for $45. There is some sewing. So, like, the arms and legs and the gills all get sewn on. So do the tail. I feel like the head and body get sewn together as well. So there's a lot of sewing, but axolotls are still crazy popular. And I'm pretty sure somebody said that they're using them in a character in the new, like, the Star Wars cartoon. So they're going to keep being crazy popular. I highly recommend. Melissa is also a really fantastic pattern designer. I met her in Refined Vibes Discord as well, and I've seen some of her patterns that have come out, and she's really, really talented. So this is a pattern that is available for sale, I believe, through her Etsy shop. Let me make sure. She has come out with quite a few patterns this year also. So her Baubles axolotl currently until January 13th is 25% off. So it's $3.37, marked down from $4.50 normally. It's a great pattern. I highly recommend. And since then she came out with cute love bears. She came out with monkeys. She came out with mouse, kitty, and zombie pumpkins. She has a Pokeball pattern that is no-sew. She came out with a Grinch, a Hello Kitty, Togepi, and Jack from Nightmare Before Christmas, I think is his name. So all of those are, like, they're super creative. They have their own take on things. I highly recommend them. Very much, very truly. I thought she had more patterns than this. She might have more patterns available on her Instagram. But those are her patterns that she has available on her Etsy. And like I said, at least with Baubles, I highly recommend. She's a great designer. So then, ooh, we only have two more. Okay. So again, the Old Soul Factory. I pattern tested for her whale shark from her Ocean Chums pack. I made both of them in Parfait Chunky. Well, no. One of them I did in Parfait... No, I didn't. One of them I did in Retro Velvet, Premier Retro Velvet. And the other one I did in Bernat Velvet. My brain's getting excited that we're almost done. Anyways, so I did the whale. Pretty sure it's no-sew. Yeah, because the fins are surface crocheted. And the tail, okay, so the tail, I think when you get to the end of it, you have to sew it together, like shut. But super easy. My very particular sciencey child thinks that it needs more spots sewn onto it. He was very much mansplaining me on that one, and everybody heard it. However, both of those sold. I believe that I sold both of them for $18 because they were small in the velvet yarn. but very, very easy pattern, and Tara is amazing to work with. So I really recommend her patterns. It is paid. It's paid pattern. If you buy the whale shark by itself, it's $3.50. But if you buy the 3 pattern pack, it's $9 for all 3 of them. So you do save $1.50. Yeah, you save $1.50 by getting the pack, which comes with the swordfish and a great white shark as well. It's very cute. I know I keep saying that, but they're all very cute. That's why I make them. Then for the final pattern of this series, this session, this part, I don't know, this video, we did the cute turtle by, it's by Made by Mira for You on Instagram. Now, if we go onto her Etsy shop, so she's from Sweden. That being said, there have been some communication issues with, I guess, how she comes across. The fact that she's from Sweden probably accounts for that. Her Etsy shop only has 19 sales on it, but she has a handful of patterns, actually. So just scrolling down, she has a dragon, a cat, a sloth, fish, a, like, girl elf, a toucan, another dragon, a Halloween doll, another dragon, and, like, a flower headband, as well as her turtle pattern. The turtle pattern is available for $2.84 right now. So she has a sale going on at the moment where if you buy patterns together, it will take 5% off of your total. If you're interested in that kind of thing. But so it's $2.84. Now I made mine out of the retro velvet yarn as well to make it nice and small. I did sell it at an event this summer. Maybe this fall. I think it was in September. I had a family who came to a market it came to an event in July. Came to an event in July, and he really wanted to buy a turtle. Well, then he came back, and the turtle that he wanted was gone. So then he wanted a different turtle. This turtle. They left to think about it. They came back, and the turtle was gone again. He was devastated. He didn't want any other turtle. He just wanted the turtles that he wanted. So his mom had asked for me to make him a turtle in the color that he wanted originally, and I did, but we weren't able to meet up until September when that market had happened again. So we were able to get him the turtle that he wanted, and he was very excited and happy. And in the process, the cute turtle from Made by Mira, the cute turtle by Made by Mira had sold to somebody else in the process, and they really loved it as well. Now, if you on Mira's Etsy shop is Mira's Favoriter, so MIRASFAVORITER. This pattern has some shaping to it. I thought it was very easy, and it's super, super cute. If I were to make it again, I would make it bigger because there's just not a lot of profit in the thinner yarn, if I'm honest. I love the look of the thinner yarn, but it's just not as profitable. So it just makes sense to make it in the bigger stuff. Now, that being said, I'm all out of patterns for this video, which is good because we are at 1 hour and 43 minutes of filming. It's 10:37. Which means when I told the girls that I would be back on the Zoom earlier, in about an hour. I lied. We'll see who's left by the time that I'm done with this. So I'm going to go ahead and get this this video done with. I'm going to go ahead and put up those pictures, my pictures, their pictures, you know, the pattern designer and whatnot. Like I said, this is very much a mixed video between free patterns and paid patterns because there were pattern tests. They were free to me, but they were pattern tests. So the pattern itself is for sale. That is how you'll be able to purchase those. And then there were also just a couple of them that I did purchase while they were on sale as well. So let me know what you think in the comments. I was looking at my analytics earlier, and it shows that out of my total watch hours for the last year, there are 70% of you that are still not subscribed. So if you wouldn't mind hitting that subscribe button, it would be a huge help. I hope that this video does as well as the first part also. We will see. The first one did really, really well. I ended up with 1,700 views on that video. I want to say over 120 likes on that video and like 37 comments. So can we try to beat it? I mean, that would be fantastic. And an update also, I wanted to make my goals in the last video were to make my first sale on my website by the end of the year. I did that. I did make 3 sales on my website, but I've only made 3 sales on my website. So if you wouldn't mind going and taking a look, I do have stitch markers available and I do have plushies available, as well as I made a new listing for bracelets. For like one of them is Crafty AF, one of them is Knitter, another is Crocheter. There's one that's by Stitchable. There's one that's Hooker. I can't remember what all of them are right now, but if you wouldn't mind taking a look at those, I would greatly appreciate it. If you follow my link tree, which is linked on my channel, then it will take you to my website. You just have to follow through the prompts and check it out. I would appreciate it. And if you're ever interested in checking out my patterns, you can look at Ravelry or my Etsy store. More of my patterns are available on Ravelry than they are on Etsy because Etsy's expensive, okay? It is. I'm sorry. If you want more variety in what I provide, Ravelry is where it's at. It's also way more user-friendly for you guys if you take the time to figure it out. Otherwise, make sure that you like, comment down below, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so that way you know when I post a video or when I go live. I need to do more of that now that the kids are back at school. That'll be a lot easier to do. And keep watch because I do need to catch up on some market month videos. I never posted our Octobers, Novembers, or Decembers. And I have a market coming up in less than 2 weeks. So we will begin January's. And I still have to come out with the other 2 parts of this video. So, that being said, I'll see you in the next one, guys. Bye!